Mulțumesc, Dana. Sora lui George, nu știu, eu rămân tot George și am preluat legătura. Și nu sunt singur, ci îl salut live din UK pe Warren Knight de la Think Digital First. Hi Warren, how are you today?
I'm very well, thank you very much. How are you?
I'm so far so good. I have to read the prompter in English, so I hope it works just fine. Let me tell our viewers something about you. So Warren Knight has dedicated the last 15 years to helping leaders understand how technology drives business success. Is that true?
100% true.
Okay, so let's see how it allows them to build a more efficient and sustainable organization and digital footprint. A lot of buzzwords here, but also a lot of knowledge. So he wants us to ensure a brand fit for the future. Warren Knight is an award-winning digital leadership and digital transformation leader, a top global influencer, one of the top 100, and he's also a tech influencer. I'm already envious. He's internationally recognized as an award-winning virtual keynote speaker, that's a new thing, and an award-winning technology entrepreneur. He's certified agile leader and author of Think #Digital First. His vision is to, by 2035, help 1 million leaders globally build a workplace based on culture, community, and technology for Generation Alpha. So let's see what we will learn today. Warren, we will carefully watch you, and I'm sure we will also have some additional questions by the end of the keynote.
Thank you very much, and I really look forward to those questions towards the end. In tomorrow's world, the rules of business have changed. Whichever data you look at, the results are the same. Companies with an engaged leader focused on digital outperform their competitors. So what I want to do for you today is I want to give you the starting point, the place at which you as an individual need to be thinking about, looking at data and truly understanding how you can make a difference and add value to your audience. So today I'm going to be talking about digital leadership. And I want to help you create a business that's really fit for the future. Now, as mentioned before, my name's Warren Knight, and I've won quite a few accolades and awards throughout that whole process over the last 15 years, and I've written a book about it. So I have a little bit of knowledge of understanding you and what's important to you. However, I also have real clarity on where you are at right now. Back in, shall we say, nearly 15 years ago now, I was working out of China, working with Disney, and the banks fell down. The stock markets were torn apart. Business was never going to be the same again. And in that moment, I decided that I no longer wanted to work with those type of companies. I wanted to truly understand technology and the power of technology. So I decided to think about how I could really add value to people in an environment that had shifted. So I went and created a technology company. I built a technology company that I got investment into. I had a team of people that were working in an agile way. Now, back in 2010, when I built this product, we weren't in the environment that we're in right now. It was very, very different. However, the opportunities that came out of such an environment enabled me to get to where I'm at today. And this is the message that I want to share with you. I want you to be thinking about the importance of technology. Technology really is the key to you to being a fit for business for the future. Now, what does that mean for you as an individual? Well, there's one clear thing that I feel that you need to be doing is embracing this new medium. We are never going to go back to where we were. We've only got the best times ahead of us. So we need to really embrace this medium to then really understand how business is going to work in the future. So I'm going to talk to you about this digital business and what it really means for you and the things that you need to be thinking about. And I'm going to break it down into 3 very simple ways. First of all, It's all about the people. All of the technology, all of the conversations that you're hearing online, all of the noise that's out there at the moment, it's all about people. The work that I do, 150 businesses I've worked with over the last 2 years, dozens of global corporate companies. There is a common theme, the people. We need to shift our mindset. We need to work in a collaborative world, and we need to upskill ourselves with these new talents. When we're in this place, then we can start looking at the process. Yes, we need to reboot. Yes, we need to think digitally, but the value that we create needs to look differently. The type of data that we need to look at, having a more data-driven business model, not so much being customer-centric, but more data-driven with that value. And then it's the technology. Think about being agile. We've all gone through this challenge over the last nearly 2 years. And to survive and thrive through this, we've had to have agility during that process. Out of that has come new business models. Out of that has enabled us to really understand the customer. So we can rip up that rule book of where we were in the past and really get focused on what the future looks like. Now, if we think about you, where does that opportunity start for you? I really want you to, if we're thinking about tech, and we've had a lot of conversations already around one touch, what does that mean to have one touch? Well, I need to get some more clarity on that. So what I'm going to do for you now is I'm going to break it down into 3 bite-sized areas for you. The first one being having awareness, making sure that you have awareness of your surroundings, awareness of where your mindset is at right now. Step number 2, knowledge. Onboard that knowledge. What are your competitors doing? What are your like-for-like businesses doing in other countries around the world? How have they embraced this new digital medium? Once you've taken on board that new knowledge, then digital literacy. This now gives you the opportunity to upskill and apply those new skills. Digital literacy is probably the #1 most important factor for any business. Now, you heard earlier that I have a vision by 2035. Why is it by 2035? It's because I have 2 very young children. I have a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old, and they are Generation Alpha. And guess what? Their jobs not even been written yet. They don't even know what they're going to be doing in the future. So where you're at right now, I want you to, as part of that very first step around awareness, is all about you. It's all about you having some self-awareness. When you know who you are and what you want to get out of your personal future and where your business is going, that is the key to managing all of those expectations. It's also all about mindset, having that mindset shift. So I want to share with you 8 of the common changes that business owners, leaders, true leaders need to be having in this new medium. The first one, let's not focus on the profit. Let's get really focused on our purpose. Let's get focused on the value that we offer our customers. Yes, we do need to be customer centric. Of course, we need to be understanding who they are, what they do, the firmographic, psychographic, and demographic of that audience. But as a business, our tone of voice needs to be focused on purpose and value. We need to shift from telling people what to do to actually being more inclusive. That agile mindset, that way of creating value by working together as a team. Resistance. Resistance to the technology. Resistance to the future. Is your mindset thinking about, actually, the good times are in the past? That's where we need to start with that mindset. We need to shift that mindset to being more a collaboration mindset. How can you work with a collective group of people to achieve those outcomes? How can you onboard new talent that is really of the right mindset? Let's not plan and predict, because we already know what planning and predicting happened. Let's think about how we can experiment, how we can adapt in this environment. One of the big things that I took into the start of 2021 was everything that I did, I was working in beta. In other words, it didn't matter if I failed because I was working in beta. So let's think about how we can not plan and predict, because guess what? We don't know what might not happen. And I'm going to share something with you around that in a moment. Rules and control. Yes, they're there to help us. Yes, they're there to help us stay on top of what it is that we need to do and where we're going. But let's have a little bit more freedom. Let's have some trust with people. If we've got an agile mindset, it means we need to be trusting people more. Let's not have secrets here around what we're doing. Let's not tell the world how amazing we are. Let's be radically transparent. I bought from a watch company not so long ago who were very open around their process of where they've got the product to you today. I know how much the components were. I know what the cost of creating the item was. I know how much the packaging is, the cost of shipping, and then the final cost to them and the profit that they make. I made a choice to go, you're being radically transparent to me. I want to buy from you. Being reluctant to shift that mindset, being reluctant to take what we've been doing in an analog world on an Excel spreadsheet and actually putting it in a digital environment where we can have that one touch. Let's go and make some decisions that is going to enable us to have a business that really is fit for the future. And let's tear up the concept around having job descriptions. We want to focus on talent and mastery. Now, as I mentioned, all of the organizations that I work with, it doesn't matter how small they are, a solopreneur, all the way through a 60,000 staff company. These core messages around mindset are critical to the future. Now, moving into an environment that we don't really know. So just very quick, give me a hands up. How many of you here have heard of a VUCA world? V-U-C-A, VUCA. It was something that was put together by the US Army about 40, 50 years ago, when they realized that what they didn't know, they didn't know. And so by understanding that that's okay to not know, you can work accordingly. So a VUCA world looks a little bit like this. Volatility. What's volatile in your market at the moment that you can understand? We don't want to predict and plan, right? Because we've got all this volatility that's going on. This is a mindset shift that I want to share with you. Understanding that there is volatility there and we can work to understanding that is a great starting point. Uncertainty. Did you know that a piece of AI listened to the buzz, listened to the noise that was going on online round about February of last year? And it served up some data. It served up some data, the person that was looking at these charts online, this visual interpretation of this data. And Blue Dot said, there's going to be a pandemic. We need to shut the whole of the world down. The person reading that data said, I've never seen this type of data before, so you must be wrong. And guess what? That piece of AI wasn't wrong. So that uncertainty is there. We just need to understand that it is going to be there and work with that. The next thing is all about complexity. How complex has your market got? How many other competitors are in the marketplace? How are your customers now thinking, buying, doing? What are their attitudes to want to buy from you, want to work with you? Because it's all changed. You need to go and have a look at your Facebook stream and realize people's attitudes have shifted to where they used to be. People's passions are now running high. These are your customers. This is you. How complex has this world got? And then last but not least, what's ambiguous? Our Prime Minister put a message out into the market about 14 months ago. And he said, Save lives, stay at home, you'll be okay. It's like, really? How can I save lives by being at home? That was really ambiguous. So after the feedback that he got, he reframed it. Save lives. Don't put pressure on the NHS. Stay at home. Okay, right, now I get it. That ambiguous message that he had now has more clarity on it. So this is a VUCA world. I want you to go and think about what's happening in your market that's volatile, what's uncertain, where's the complexities, and how ambiguous is this environment moving towards digital. So to do that, I want to help you reframe your mindset. I want to help you understand behaviors better. And so what I've got for you here is a bit of a 5-step process for you. Step number 1, challenge your core beliefs and reframe that perspective. When you know that we are in an uncertain world, you know that digital is there to unlock the future for you, reframe that perspective you have on technology. Define yourself as a digital leader. Take control of your business and drive it forward, knowing that you can have a one-click option that gives you data that you can take action on that data. Change the conversation you're having inside of your mind. Switch to 90 degrees ago. I'm not listening to you today. Change that dialogue inside of your brain at the moment. Reinforce those mindsets with routines. It's all about building habits. And I like to come from a place of habit layering. You build a habit, build a habit, build a habit, build a habit. You slowly remove the past and embrace the future. And then go and amplify those behaviors, those experimental ways of learning. Once you've had that shift inside of your mind and your mindset's now creating new routines, amplify that. Be that one that is helping make sense of the noise that's out there in the market at the moment. Knowledge. Data. What does it mean? How can we take this data and create value out of this data? This is where the key to success really happens. But without embracing the mindset, knowledge is pointless. There's no point having that knowledge. Because what we want to do with that knowledge is work out ways how we can automate. How can we automate and systemize those processes? The one thing for me personally, as a small business, that has transformed my opportunities in the future is by allowing my team, who are all virtual, all using cloud service products and tools, whether that's through payments, whether that's through workflows, whether that's through engagement, automating on social media, automating marketing automation, that flow of marketing automation, whatever it might be. It's a step-by-step process to automating every single step of your business. So ultimately, you get to the point where it doesn't matter where you live. It doesn't matter who's in your team. It doesn't matter where your team are. They could be over in the States. They could be over in the Philippines. But because you have automation and because you're thinking about being in the cloud, this is where the power comes from having that digital mindset. Now, I've got a bit of a framework around that for you, which I want to share with you today. Where are you at right now with your digital journey, with that digital transformation? I've got some framework that I'd like to give to you right now. So what you're looking at on the screen is asking yourself, out of a 1 to 10, how good do you feel of your business going from an analog to a digital business? I mean, I'm talking a 100% digital business, 100% digital revenue streams, 100% digital customer engagement, thinking about that digital only customer. The mindset shifted. Where are you at right now? Where's your strategy at? Where's your supply chain at? What about your IT? Where is that sitting? How's the people, the workplace, the culture, your sales, your marketing? Where does it all sit? Is it all in an environment where you or anybody can get access to? Think about that. The cloud is there to make it happen. Now, traditionally, your wheel might be a little bit wonky. You might be strong in certain areas. You might be weak in certain areas. But this now gives you the knowledge to know what you need to do. You've already got now the awareness. You've taken that on board. We now need to start taking action on that and creating that knowledge. Because it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. We want to be here in the future. What happens today might look very different tomorrow, and that's okay. Take your time. If you've had to reinvent your business, as many, many industries have, you've now been given the chance to reset, to recalibrate, to rethink, reimagine. Because it's not a sprint. It really is a marathon of where we need to go. The customer. The digital customer. What's shifted? What's changed? Attitudes, behaviors. As I mentioned before, not only do we need to know what company they work for and what car they drive or how much money they earn, but actually how they're feeling. What makes them laugh? What makes them cry? What are their thoughts right now? Where are their passions moving towards? Because if you, as a true digital leader, can get to understand that prospect or that paying prospect, then you are already way far ahead of your competitors. So what does that future digital customer look like? Well, Elon Musk says it looks like this. If you've got a chance to watch his great keynote talking about his Tesla bot, this is where he sees things going in the future. Now, how close we are to that? Big question mark. But the reality is it's coming. Now, they're here to help. Technology is here to help. Whether you look at it from an AI perspective, whether you look at it from a virtual reality perspective, whether it's blockchain that you're looking at, not cryptocurrencies, but the value that blockchain can bring for your organization from a security and a safe place perspective. The emerging technologies are in organizations today, right now. It's just that Elon Musk really likes to think about the future. So that customer, what are they doing? What are they seeing? What are they hearing? What are they thinking? They might look a little bit like this now. So not quite Elon Musk's version of the future, but the reality of today. This really is the customer. They're there, they're embracing technology, they're understanding how important it is to, if I want to be connected to you as a customer, I'm going to be using technology. I'm going to be using the device that sits in my hand. So when I first wrote my book back in about 2014, 2015, I looked at all of the touch points of the customer. Then in 2017, I looked at it again. And now in this environment, it shifted once more. Before the pandemic, we were at 9.4 touch points. So 9.4 times before somebody actually made the choice to want to work with you as a business. Now we're looking at 11.2. It's increased. We, with our consumers hat on, are spending more time making sure that the decision that we make of working with an organization, a brand, a solopreneur, is the right one. Because we want to build relationships that really are fit for the future. So I have a framework that I'd like to share with you. And during this framework, I hope you'll get to understand the importance of where you are at right now. So what you're looking at here is a 5-step process of taking someone from being a visitor who doesn't know you to being a prospect who then you have their data to be able to communicate with, all the way through to being a customer, or if you like, a paying prospect. Step number 1, relevancy. Understanding your customer and communicating to them in a way that connects with them is the number 1 most important thing at the moment. You get that wrong, everything else fails. The type of content you create online, the impression that you give people over on your LinkedIn profile, how people find you inside of Google, whatever that might be, it's got to be relevant to them. Let me share some statistics with you in a moment around that. The next step is all about engagement. It's great that we use push content to push it out. We can automate content to go out online, and that's great. But we've got to pull people back in again. We've got to engage with them. The next part is when they engage with us, then they're nurturing. We need to nurture them. This, for me, is the number one biggest mistake SMEs make. They spend all of their time creating value, whether it be online or offline. They get eyeballs on their content. They get contact details of their potential customers, and then they do nothing with it. Nurturing that database is key to how your business will bring revenue in the future, because the attitudes of your customers have shifted, and now they will buy when they're ready. Doesn't mean when you ask them to buy, it means when they are ready. The next part that we go to is making sure that we get that sale, not that one-off sale, but understanding the lifetime value of that customer, where we are continuously delighting. We're continuously making promises that our values connect to. And it's at that point then that we build awesome brand advocates. They go off and they talk about our business on our behalf. Now, if they're going to go off and talk about it and you're creating marketing and you've got word of mouth out there at the moment, let me share a statistic with you. Now, there's two different types of statistics that I'm going to share with you. The first one is, did you know that 57% of your future customers have already made a decision to want to work with you? They've already made that decision because of the research that they've been doing, the conversations that we've had with other people about how good your business is. They've already made that decision. Now, if we talk about it from a LinkedIn 100% digital perspective, LinkedIn say that 80% of buyers have already made the decision to work with you in that digital environment. But the reality is it's sitting around about at 57%. So if we know that people are making a decision to want to work with us, and the statistics are this high, how do we need to think about them? So I'm going to share with you a little saying from somebody that we all know, who is probably one of the richest men in the world. And let me introduce to you Mr. Jeff Bezos. And Mr. Jeff Bezos says, we see our customers as invited guests to a party, and we are the hosts. It's our job every day to make every important aspect of the customer experience just that little bit better. So if you think about if this, one of the most richest men in the world, is everything that he does is focused on the customer, what do we need to do? What knowledge do we need to take on board to facilitate the outcome of being fit for the future? So if we're going to do that, I'm going to share with you very quickly a framework to help you think that way. Now, if many of you have ever worked in technology, which I'm sure some of you have, you'll understand the concept of working agile. Doing and engaging with your technology people and allowing them to have a scrum, sprints, stand-up scrums on a daily basis, really get to understand what failure looks like and how to fix it quickly. You'll understand that concept of agile. But in this new business world, in this new environment, agile has so many more meanings to it. It's how can we collaborate? It's how can we think about giving the best user experience possible? It's about our mindset. It's all about thinking customer-centric. So when something happens in an environment like what we've been in so far, for you to think about 2022 as this opportunity, think in an agile way, not in a fixed mindset. We want a growth mindset. So as an agile leader, I want to put that into some context for you. Leadership agility is the ability to compete and thrive in a digital age by quickly responding to market changes and emerging opportunities with innovative, and I'm going to say everyday innovative, digitally enabled business solutions. Just think about that for a moment. How can you compete and thrive? How can you pivot, react quickly to these changing environments? By using technology, by embracing technology, by innovating not only within your organization, but using third-party companies to help you do that. So I'm going to take you back to probably about a couple of minutes ago when I shared with you a framework. Understanding where you're at today, where your digital IQ is a great starting point from a knowledge perspective, enabling you to think about the future. So I've got one thing that I like to just share with you before I leave you, and that is there is no change without change. If we're going to be a business that's fit for the future, if we're going to truly embrace this digital environment, we need to have awareness, onboard the knowledge, and have digital literacy that we can take and share with our team, with our collaborators, and with everybody around us, making sure that we are being a business that is fit for the future. Thank you very much. My name's Warren Knight, and go and be digitally enabled as digital leaders.
Thank you, Warren. That was really impressive. I think I just went back to school.
Thank you very much.
For a few minutes right there. From a distance, it sounds like buzzwords, but you're actually testing this on a daily basis, working with different companies. How do you see the impact of new technologies and innovative solutions in SMEs, in small and medium enterprises?
I think I'm going to go back to that automating processes.
Okay.
If we know that technology is advancing at a pace that we've never seen before, we just need to take a step back and really think about what does that mean for me as a leader and for my business? And if we can just focus on one thing for a moment and automate that, whether it's banking, so having open banking solution, whether it's about automating our onboarding process, how we do marketing and how we do our digital sales. Focus on one thing, nail that, do that really well, and then focus on to the next digitally enabled solution that will help you.
Okay, so one by one, just step by step.
Step by step.
But keep it in beta. Just
exactly.
Move fast, break things, that kind of attitude.
Yeah, it's okay to fail.
It's okay to fail. If we have any questions from our audience.
Yes. I have a question because you discuss a lot about people. Tell me more about the digital leadership. Sounds like a new kind of leadership. And I'm very interested to know your opinion about this.
No problem at all. I saw this shift probably about 5 years ago now. And I realized that it doesn't matter, whether you're a solopreneur, whether you're running a team of 10 people, you think back to Facebook. Facebook bought Instagram for $1 billion, and there was only 9 people in that business, and they were loss making. But the mindset, the individuals, the talents that was in that business is what he was interested in. So being a digital leader, from my perspective, ultimately means that we are embracing this new medium. There is technology that's out there. It doesn't have to be expensive. Most of it can actually be free. But by paying a small amount of money and knowing that you're going to spend a bit of time understanding how that's going to work for my business, even if it's automating invoices, something that could be very simple, but we still got a knowledge curve that we need to kind of get over. But once we get over that knowledge curve, we're through it and we're out the other side. We don't then realize how much time we wasted on doing something that was so analog, and how digital has been able to help us stay focused on what we want to do by creating value for our customers. So that, for me, is where that digital leadership comes from SMEs. Okay,
because I'm hearing from different companies doing apps and stuff like that, that most of the time it doesn't have to be very complicated. If you want to win and win big, do it cheap and good enough. And it sounds stupid and basic, but it actually works. Look at Waze. It's cheap and good enough for the user.
Yeah, 100%. And if you actually dig deep into the founder of Waze, he probably had about 4 or 5 failed technology companies before he created something that I have a bit of a framing around that. It's called KISS. Keep it super simple. Everything that you do doesn't need to be complicated. And guess what? The customer doesn't want to have those complications. They just want to understand your values and the talent that you have within your team potentially for them to have the confidence to want to work with you. So Waze keeps it really simple, but you failed a lot to get to that point.
So you need to fail a lot in order to make it simple. Take the heavy stuff out.
You can learn a lot from other people, and that's why I talk about staying in beta. Google, when they first launched Gmail, it was probably in beta for about 2.5 years because they were, it was okay if it didn't work because they're in beta. So if you come with that beta mindset, because there's so much uncertainty that's out there at the moment, as long as you're transparent around that, people will forgive you.
Okay. Talking about transparency, I can see someone else in the audience ready to have a question for you.
Hello, very nice presentation indeed. I have one question because you said a lot of about mindset shift, and this is very important. And this is relating to the whole organization. And you know the saying that the culture is eating the digital transformation for breakfast.
Yes.
So how this mindset shifting and how the culture for any organization should be drive in order to embrace this digital transformation after all?
Great question. Thank you very much. And I'm going to bring it back to just one word: vision. When the owner, the founder, the person driving the business has a very clear vision, a vision that can easily be spoken about by the staff. If staff member goes home and they have a conversation with their partner, go, "What are you working on today?" And that vision just comes out. It could be 5 or 6 words. It could be a slightly longer paragraph. But when people are bought into a vision, that is when magic happens. So getting clarity on what that vision looks like for an organization is key. Then, depending on the size of the organization, that might filter down to a digital board. So people that are really focused on digital, the future. And it's those ones that have autonomy. They're the ones that are making the decisions around driving it forward. So having that digital board and that digitally enabled innovation committee then can make a huge difference. So I hope that kind of answers your question in sort of 2 ways, thinking about small business and the large business. Vision is the word.
It all comes back to leadership in the end.
100%.
Okay, thank you, Warren. Thank you for your presentation and all your kind answers. Again, I think we learned a lot today, and we really appreciate you for it.
No problem at all. Thank you very much for having me.